After traveling to see family for Thanksgiving, Bear and I came home and decorated the apartment for Christmas. My style of decorations are very woodland and forest inspired, and I love how cozy and festive they feel. If you've seen any of my videos, you probably know how much the natural world inspires me and how much I love to go out in the woods and walk. So bringing in that feeling of the woods, especially in wintertime, was just a natural thing for me. It also helps me feel like I'm living a taste of my dream, which would be to have a little cottage in the woods someday. If my voice sounds a little odd right now, it's because I'm dealing with allergies. Yes, I'm having allergies at the beginning of winter. I don't know why, but there it is. So if my voice sounds a little deeper than normal, I apologize. The painting that I'm going to share with you today is deeply personal for me, for it's inspired by one of my favorite stories. It comes from C.S. Lewis's book, The Chronicles of Narnia. It tells the story of 4 children who enter through a wardrobe and find themselves in a winter wonderland. This scene of the lamppost is one of the very first places they encounter on their new adventure, and in the story, they learn the power of redemption, sacrifice, and love. C.S. Lewis talked a lot about the concept of escapism and the way literature can function as a new window to the world. One of my favorite quotes from him is this: "We want to see with other eyes, to imagine with other imaginations, to feel with other hearts as well as our own. We demand windows. I think what this quote highlights is the fact that we have trouble escaping our limited perspective of the immediate and the mundane so that we can see things as they really are. I used to think that escapism was a dangerous thing, a crutch for those who found this world too frightening, too dull, or too painful to bear. Though it can be dangerous, it's not always. And now I have come to love that kind of escapism that gives me a new window to the world. It's become almost like a spiritual discipline for me, a means of grace by which I can get glimpses of the realities just beyond my sight. In the pages of a good story, we engage in the practice of escapism, cultivating our mind's eye to better understand the world around us. We escape reality in the pages of a book, but in that process we find new perspectives and are shocked into seeing the familiar in brand new ways and live a day in the mind of another person, even if they're a fictional one. In the simple act of reading a story, we learn to see with the eyes of another, to feel what another feels, and to understand the way the world is by living a life other than our own. And thus our imagination becomes furnished with a new view outside of ourselves. We've been given a window. There's another quote from C.S. Lewis that I think is relevant to this discussion. He said, "A man who has lived in many places is not likely to be deceived by the local airs of his native village. The scholar has lived in many times, and he is therefore, in some degree, immune from the great cataract of nonsense that pours from the press and the microphone of his own age." I think we can all agree that there's a lot of nonsense pouring out of our culture these days. And not only that, there's a sense of foreboding that seems to be hanging over all of us just now. An impending sense of dread that we don't really know what's coming and we fear it's probably not good. And this is where the imagination comes in. I think what C.S. Lewis and I would say to you is to read well and often. Read books that help remove the cataracts from your eyes. Read books that affirm the realities of goodness, truth, and beauty. I'll leave you with a quote from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's one of my favorites. One of the main characters is telling the children about Aslan, who is coming to release the world from the throes of the wicked witch. This character, speaking of Aslan, says, "Wrong will be right when Aslan comes in sight. At the sound of his roar, sorrows will be no more. When he bares his teeth, winter meets its death. And when he shakes his mane, we shall have spring again." Wherever you are, I hope goodness and mercy follow you throughout your day or night. I will see you next time.